Have you ever bought a cheap sofa thinking you were saving money, only to find yourself shopping for another one just a couple of years later? And not because you wanted an upgrade, but because the cushions sank, the frame started creaking, the fabric wore out, and suddenly the deal you were so proud of didn't feel like a deal anymore. This is one of those purchases that almost everyone gets wrong at least once. Because on the surface, it feels like a smart financial move. You walk into a store, see a sofa for $400 instead of $1,200, and your brain immediately frames it as a win. Same function, lower price. That's what we're trained to look for. But what most people don't realize is that a sofa isn't just a purchase. It's a timeline. And if you don't think in terms of time, you're almost guaranteed to overpay. Because here's the hidden pattern. Cheap sofas don't fail all at once. They decline slowly. First, the cushions lose their shape. Then you notice you're adjusting how you sit. Then one side dips slightly lower than the other. Eventually, you stop inviting people over as often, because the space just doesn't feel as comfortable anymore. And before you consciously decide it's time to replace it, you already have. And this is where the cost starts stacking in a way that most people never calculate. Let's say you buy a $400 sofa, and it lasts you about 3 years before it becomes uncomfortable or visibly worn. Over 9 years, you've replaced it 3 times. That's $1,200. Now compare that to a $1,200 sofa that comfortably lasts 10 years or more. Same total spend or even less, but a completely different experience along the way. And that's the part people miss. It's not just about how much you spend, it's about how often you have to spend it, and what you live with in between. Because furniture isn't like most purchases. You don't just use a sofa occasionally, you experience it daily. It's where you unwind after work, where you sit when you're tired, where you host people, where you spend hours without even thinking about it. And when something that's central to your daily life is slightly uncomfortable, slightly unstable, slightly off, it quietly affects your entire environment. Now, this isn't about saying you need to go out and buy the most expensive sofa you can find. That's not the point either. Because just like cheap furniture can be misleading, expensive furniture can be too. There's a range where you're paying for real structural quality. And then there's a point where you're mostly paying for branding, aesthetics, or marginal upgrades that don't significantly extend the lifespan. So the real question becomes, where is that line? What actually makes a sofa last, and how do you recognize it before you buy? To answer that, you have to shift how you evaluate furniture. Most people shop visually first. They look at color, style, how it fits the room. And those things matter, but they don't determine whether the sofa will still feel good 3 years from now. What matters is what's underneath. The frame, the suspension, the cushion construction. The parts you don't immediately see, but that determine everything about how the sofa ages. Take the frame, for example. This is the skeleton of the entire piece. In lower-cost sofas, frames are often made from particle board or soft wood held together with staples. It works at first, but over time, those joints loosen. That's when you start hearing the creaks. That's when the structure begins to shift. A higher quality sofa, on the other hand, uses kiln-dried hardwood with reinforced joinery. It's built to resist warping and movement over time. You don't notice it on day 1, but you absolutely notice it on year 5. Then there's the suspension system, the part that supports the cushions. In cheaper models, you'll often find basic webbing or lighter spring systems that stretch out over time. That's what creates that sinking feeling. In better sofas, you're looking for things like sinuous springs or even 8-way hand-tied springs in higher-end builds. These systems distribute weight more evenly and maintain their tension longer, which keeps the seat feeling consistent. And then there are the cushions themselves. This is where comfort lives and where most of the visible wear happens. Lower-cost sofas typically use low-density foam, which breaks down faster. It loses its shape, doesn't bounce back, and starts to feel uneven. Higher-density foam, often wrapped in fiber or down blends, holds its structure much longer. It's the difference between a cushion that looks tired after a year and one that still feels supportive after several. But here's something interesting, and this is where it ties back into behavior and psychology. When a sofa starts to decline, most people don't immediately attribute it to quality. They adjust. They rotate cushions. They sit in a different spot. They normalize the discomfort. And because the change is gradual, it doesn't trigger an immediate replacement. It just slowly lowers the standard of what feels acceptable in your own space. And that's how the real cost hides. Not just in dollars, but in experience. Because over time, you're not just replacing furniture, you're adapting to lower quality without realizing it. And when you finally do replace it, you repeat the same decision, because the upfront price still feels like the most important factor. This is why the cost per year way of thinking is so powerful. It shifts your focus from price to lifespan. Instead of asking, how much does this cost? You start asking, how long will this actually last me? And what will it feel like during that time? And those two questions lead to very different decisions. For example, a $900 sofa that lasts 8 years costs you about $112 per year. A $400 sofa that lasts 3 years costs you about $133 per year. The cheaper option is actually more expensive. And that's before you factor in the inconvenience of replacing it, the time spent shopping again, and the years spent using something that's slowly deteriorating. And once you start seeing purchases this way, it doesn't just apply to sofas. It applies to almost everything in your home. But before we go there, there's another important layer to this conversation. Because not all cheap sofas are bad, and not all expensive ones are worth it. There are specific brands, construction shortcuts, and pricing traps that you need to be aware of if you want to actually make a smart decision, instead of just a more expensive one. And this is where most people either save a lot of money or waste even more trying to avoid wasting it. Because once you start looking a little closer, you realize the furniture market is full of signals that don't always mean what you think they mean. A higher price tag doesn't automatically guarantee durability. A well-known brand doesn't always mean better construction. And a stylish showroom setup can make even the lowest quality piece feel premium for a few minutes. This is where a lot of people get caught. They upgrade from a very cheap sofa to something that's just slightly more expensive, expecting a big jump in quality. But instead, they land in what you could call the middle trap. It looks better. It feels better at first. But structurally, it's not that different. Maybe the fabric is nicer. Maybe the design is more modern. But underneath, the same compromises are still there. The frame is still lightweight. The cushions are still low density. The suspension still gives out sooner than expected. So instead of replacing your sofa every 3 years, now you're replacing it every 4 or 5. It feels like progress, but financially and functionally, you're still cycling. And this is why understanding where real value starts is so important. Because there is a threshold where construction quality improves in a meaningful way. Not dramatically more expensive, but intentionally built to last. For most sofas in the US market, that threshold tends to sit somewhere in the $800 to $1,500 range. That's where you begin to see kiln-dried hardwood frames, better joinery, higher density foam, and more durable upholstery options. Above that range, you're often paying for design, customization, or brand positioning. And those things can absolutely be worth it if they matter to you. But in terms of pure durability and cost per year value, the biggest jump usually happens before you hit those higher price tiers. Now, let's talk about something a little more practical. How to actually spot these differences when you're shopping, whether online or in store. Because this is where a small amount of knowledge can save you hundreds, if not thousands, over time. If you're in a showroom, one of the simplest things you can do is lift the front corner of the sofa slightly. A well-built frame will feel solid and resist twisting. A weaker frame will flex. It's subtle, but once you feel the difference, it becomes obvious. You can also sit on one corner and then the center. If the support feels uneven or inconsistent, that's usually a sign of a weaker suspension system. When it comes to cushions, ask about foam density. Most people never do this, but it's one of the clearest indicators of longevity. A density of around 1.8 pounds per cubic foot or higher is generally a good baseline for durability. Anything significantly lower tends to break down faster, even if it feels soft and comfortable at first. And then there's the fabric, which plays a bigger role than people expect. A cheap fabric doesn't just wear out visually, it changes how the sofa feels over time. It stretches, pills, fades, and sometimes even loosens around the cushions. Performance fabrics or tightly woven materials tend to hold up much better, especially in homes where the sofa gets daily use. Now, if you're shopping online, things get a little trickier, because you can't physically test any of this. So instead, you have to rely on specifications and patterns. Look for clear mentions of kiln-dried hardwood frames. Look for cushion density details. Look at reviews, but not just the overall rating. Look specifically for comments about how the sofa holds up after a year or two. That's where the real story usually is. And there's another layer here that's worth paying attention to: return rates and warranty policies. Brands that offer longer warranties on frames and cushions are usually more confident in their construction. It's not a guarantee, but it's a signal. But beyond all of these technical details, there's something else that matters just as much. And it's how you think about the role of furniture in your life. Because at the end of the day, a sofa isn't just a financial decision. It's part of your daily environment. And your environment quietly shapes your behavior more than you realize. A comfortable, supportive space makes it easier to relax, to focus, to enjoy your time at home. A worn-out, uncomfortable one does the opposite, even if you've gotten used to it. And this is where the real shift happens. When you stop thinking of a sofa as an expense to minimize, and start thinking of it as a tool you use every single day. Because when you frame it that way, the decision changes. You're no longer asking, what's the cheapest option I can get away with? You're asking, what's the smartest investment for how I actually live? And that question leads to better outcomes, not just financially, but experientially. It also reduces something people don't often talk about: decision fatigue. Every time you have to replace a major piece of furniture, you go through the same cycle: research, comparison, uncertainty, second-guessing. It takes time and mental energy. And when you make a more durable choice up front, you remove that entire cycle for years. Now, does this mean everyone should go out and spend $1,200 on a sofa immediately? Not necessarily. If you're in a temporary living situation, or you know you'll be moving frequently, a lower-cost option might make more sense in the short term. Context matters. Flexibility matters. But even then, understanding the trade-off helps you make that decision consciously instead of reactively. Because the goal isn't to always spend more, it's to spend smarter. And once you start applying that thinking, you'll notice something interesting. The same principle shows up everywhere. Mattresses, office chairs, dining tables, even things like cookware. There's often a point where spending a little more upfront actually reduces your total cost over time and significantly improves your day-to-day experience. But it only works if you recognize where that point is. Otherwise, you either overspend on things that don't need it, or underspend on things that quietly cost you more. So if there's one takeaway from all of this, it's this: cheap isn't always cheap, and expensive isn't always expensive. What matters is how long something lasts, how well it performs during that time, and how often you have to replace it. And once you start thinking in those terms, you don't just buy better furniture, you build a better system around your spending. So the next time you're looking at a sofa, don't just look at the price tag. Look at the timeline behind it. Ask yourself how long it will actually serve you, and what those years will feel like. Because that's where the real value is. And if this way of thinking changed how you see not just sofas, but spending in general, then you're going to find a lot of value in the rest of what we explore here. This channel is all about helping you make smarter decisions that compound over time, quietly, consistently, and in ways that actually improve your life. So if you want more of that, you can stick around.